The British newspaper The Telegraph says that a former Premier League footballer has been arrested in connection with match fixing. It says that he's one of 6 men who've so far been detained. Police say that they're looking into a suspected international betting syndicate. Our Atika Schubert joins me now in our London studio with all the details. It is complicated, this, and it's also interesting because one would have thought that football is such a lucrative sport anyway that presumably the players wouldn't need to be involved.
Well, it really depends on the league, and what you mentioned is a former Premier League footballer, somebody who's now an agent. We can't name the other people that were arrested. It includes a fixer and 3 other players. But the players, I should point out, are in the Conference League, which is a semi-professional league. And those players really get paid perhaps as much as £1,000 a week at most. So we're really talking about a very steep drop in pay. And what that means is it's very tempting to take any sort of a payout on match fixing. What appears to have happened here is that a match fixing syndicate from Asia basically was trying to break into the British football market, as it were, and so attempted to have this fixed match in the Conference League. It was covertly videotaped in part by a Telegraph investigation and then handed over to the National Crime Agency, and as a result 6 people were arrested.
As you were saying before, perhaps tempting if you look at the numbers there on the salary, obviously not excusable because it's illegal, and we should stress that these are still just allegations, these people haven't been named. But Atika, it doesn't do much for the so-called beautiful game, does it? Because we've heard this before.
No, it really does corrupt the sport from the inside out. I mean, the numbers that we're talking about are pretty shocking. In that video that we've seen from on the Telegraph website, for example, you can see the match fixer saying it costs, in Britain, it's expensive. It costs $70,000 to get a player, $20,000 to get a referee. And it's pretty shocking to hear these kinds of figures being put out that you can essentially buy players or referees. But I have to point out that what makes the story here is that for a long time British football was seen as an area that these match fixers could not get into. Remember, we've seen match fixing in Italy, in Finland, all over, in Australia, in all kinds of places. But this is one of the first times we've actually seen it here in Britain.
And not necessarily confined to the realm of football and soccer as well. We've had allegations of match fixing, particularly in the racing industry, horse racing and also cricket. But if we get back to the topic of soccer, it is such a high-stakes game. This is an enormous industry. Where do we go from here?
It is a huge industry, and we're not talking just about tens of thousands of dollars. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. This is how much a gambling syndicate can rake in off of very small bids, but when you think about it, it all adds up. And so this is why they're willing to plunk down tens of thousands of dollars to fix a match, because they'll know they'll get hundreds of thousands of dollars back. How do you regulate it? Well, this is part of the problem. Investigators are finding that you can arrest and prosecute somebody in one country, but it means they're still available to go to another country once they get out and continue to fix matches there. And so perhaps what this means is stiffer regulation from FIFA, but we're going to have to wait and see, because it is incredibly difficult to regulate when you consider just how endemic the problem is.
All right, Atika Schubert here in our London studio, helping us understand the complex rules and regulations there of football in the light of those allegations of match fixing. Thank you so much for that.